what percentage of teenage girls get the recommended amount of exercise each week? The answer is only 20%.
Looks like you're watching The Right Stuff. We're live this Tuesday morning with our special guest Ben Miller and our star panellists David Ian and Natalie Pinkham. Still to come, should silent couples split? These are lengthy silences between lovers. Are they a sign all's not well or preferable to a screaming row? 0207 173 5555 is the number, of course. If you've been there and got the T-shirt, we want to hear from you. Let's have some emails on school placement and what should happen to those naughty parents.
The first one is from John. I reckon any parents getting caught should have their child moved to the worst performing school in the area.
Oh. It's an interesting thought, though, because if you work on the basis that these are the parents who care most, who are prepared to invest the most, they could help drag up the poor performing schools. Good idea.
The next one is from Phil. All kids should be entitled to the best education available. Where's the punishment for councils who supply substandard schools in the first place?
That's the point.
And finally...
What's got into you lot?
They're with me on this, Matthew.
Oh.
I feel this is a little excessive, but this is from Ian. Parents should be put in prison for cheating. We want the best for our children, but we do not go shoplifting.
Maybe someone who reached for ITV and got 5 by mistake. So, when would you let your daughter go on a diet? Is 11 too young? A survey by the Girl Guides has found just under half of this country's 11 to 16-year-old girls are indeed on some kind of diet, from just watching what they eat right up to cutting out certain foods altogether. 1 in 4 say they'd consider cosmetic surgery, 1 in 10 a gastric band if it meant they'd be thinner, with the Guides blaming magazine images of airbrushed celebrities for increasing the pressure girls feel to keep the weight off, something that becomes almost obsessional after the age of 10. Now, all the headlines suggest this is bad news, but is it? When this show started at the dawn of the new millennium, we were bombarded with government stats that told us 42% of boys and 48% of girls would be morbidly obese by 2020, and we all stroked our chins and pondered, what should we do? But according to the National Heart Forum, those predictions are being revised downwards, so now it's 30% of boys and 27% of girls, almost half, who face major weight-related health problems. So 10 years or so down the line, that's when this might happen. So lots seems to have been done. We weigh and track pupils now, don't we? Their weight in schools. The government is backing healthier school meals, Jamie Oliver and all of that, exercise campaigns and so on. So good things are happening, even if almost 1 in 3 youngsters still has a weight problem. So how would you react? That's the question. If your 11-year-old announced she was going on a diet, would you congratulate her or worry? Experts say, of course, there's a fine line between healthy weight loss and obsessive dieting, and girls who start dieting young are more likely to end up showing signs of anorexia and bulimia. But, Natalie, the signs seem to be suggesting that we're getting the weight problem under control.
Well, first of all, I mean, you obviously don't think I'm old enough to have an 11-year-old daughter, do you?
No.
No, yeah, good. Just want to clarify that. No, I think...
But I reckon you're young enough to remember the pressures of what it would be like to be 11.
Still feel them.
Living in a fast food culture.
Yeah, no, but I think there are 3 key issues here. There's, well, obviously, dieting, exercise, and just eating healthier. You can eat well and exercise. You don't have to diet. And I think that's the message that we need to be hitting home. Get kids active. Get kids off the sofas. Stop them playing computer games. Stop them reading these magazines that are putting these ideas in their head.
If almost half the nation's girls were due to be morbidly obese 9 years ago, and now we're down to 27%.
Yeah, but I just think we're being more active, and I just think they're eating healthier. They're more aware of what they're eating. I don't think... Dieting's never been the answer.
Half the country's girls are on diets, and you think it's all down to exercise that we're losing the weight?
No, I don't think it... no, you're right, but I think it should be down to exercise. And I think that's the message. Just hammering home a healthier message. Dieting is not healthy, because I know so many girls, even my goddaughters talks about, you know, starving themselves, and they see that as dieting just by stopping eating. That's not healthy, but just get your, you know, 5 veg a day and just be healthier.
I think it's also about the motivation of these kids as to why they want to get that thin. I do have a daughter that is 11 next birthday, interestingly. Hard to believe, but so true. And, you know, she's very focused on what she looks like and, more importantly, what the images are of...
When did that start?
I'd say when she was about 8 or 9.
Would you go along with...
You've got kids that are fascinated by watching, you know, X Factor, America's Next Top Model, Hannah Montana... You know, what have they got in common? Being gorgeous, looking thin. Being thin. And I think there's a difference between healthy diet and looking of a normal weight, and an 11-year-old coming to you who looks perfectly normal, is a normal weight, saying, I want to be thinner.
Is it automatically of concern if an 11-year-old girl says, I'm going to diet, bearing in mind that diet covers everything from careful eating right the way through to effectively starvation. But if an 11-year-old girl says, I want to diet, and that 11-year-old girl is carrying a bit of weight, right, not just a little bit of weight, is that a cause for concern or a cause for celebration?
I think that is a cause for concern, because I think she will be saying it from a perspective of cutting down her food as opposed to eating healthily.
Exactly.
And that's the difference.
Yeah.
If it's a little bit of weight, if it's a few pounds, that sounds to me as if it needs to be adjusted, not radically changed.
Let's say Mum and Dad are of the burger and fries view of child rearing, and that she is having to work against that kind of background at home. Acceptable then?
I think, unfortunately, it sounds as if that parent is going to be the one that says, of course you don't need to diet, you look perfectly good, because they're comparing it like to like.
So if the child then says that they want to diet, is that a cause for celebration? They're bucking the family trend.
Not diet, just change their diet. I mean, I know that it sounds like semantics, but actually, look at what you're eating rather than cutting out food. Because I think too many girls just go...
But if you look at... if you look at what you're eating and it's burger and fries, burger and fries, burger and fries, then you decide to cut out burger and fries...
Yeah, but just don't cut out food altogether.
You worried by this, Ben?
I am worried by it. I mean, I'm even more worried by the cosmetic surgery angle.
Yeah,
I mean, we're talking about ideals of beauty, aren't we? And they change from century to century, you know, I mean... I don't know at what age girls used to force themselves into corsets, but, you know, I imagine it was at quite a young age. And we've always had these really demanding ideals of beauty, haven't we? At various stages. So, in a sense, that's nothing new. I think what is new is the obesity. And I think that, Lord bless Jamie Oliver, you know, I mean, I think that trying to provide people with a balanced diet, you know, children with a balanced diet at an early age has got to be a good thing. But let's get on to the cosmetic surgery. This is the bit that would seem to be more influenced by, you know, Next Top Model and X Factor and all the rest of it, and that is really scary.
You're chasing impossible ideals, aren't you?
Well, the obvious thing to say is at 11 you don't know what you're going to look like when when you're grown up, and getting surgery at an age as young as that's got to be bad
diversity
news.
should be celebrated. Don't all go for that cloned look, you know.
Yeah. Let's just for the sake of the discussion here, though, if you had an 11-year-old daughter, and you heard her say, "I'm thinking about going on a diet. I'm going on a diet," would that sound alarm bells, or not necessarily? Could be a cause for celebration.
It would definitely sound alarm bells. Yeah, it definitely would sound alarm bells, because I think we're all quite confused by what we mean by diet. You know, I mean, thinking about what you eat is a good thing. You know, starving yourself is not. I mean, all the evidence seems to be that the kind of I'm going to eat nothing but watercress and you know, I don't know, liquefied beetroot. You know, I mean, diet, which is fantastic, by the way. I had a friend who went on something he called the lemon diet. Have you heard of this?
Does it involve mainly eating lemons?
He just ate lemons. Of course, and he said, I lost an awful lot of weight. I was thinking, like, yeah, I imagine you must have an awful lot of self-respect as well. I mean,
I wonder about how much kids of 11 are picking up dieting as a trend, as something fashionable, because they hear their parents talking about it all the time. I certainly did at my house, and I'm sure a lot of you guys did as well. I don't know, I think it's interesting. Would you be concerned if your 11-year-old came home and said she wanted to go on a diet? Let's see what people say.
First we have Nikki, and she's on line 1.